Yes. So yeah, obviously composting is a huge thing that people hear about. When I've actually looked into it, like for people who have written books and they've done the actual like scientific breakdowns of these things, compost is very valuable because you're taking something that has already just come from the earth and you're putting it back in as opposed to something that's had to be created. Now, all compost is not necessarily as beneficial as we think. It does have a lot of nutrient, but there will be some components that will be missing from that compost because it depends on what you put in your compost. So for me, yes, the compost is always going to be the number one ingredient that I want to try to put back down into the soil first before adding other things. But I know that it's not going to be enough in and of itself. It's really important that anything that is composted has gone through its completed composted journey. If you take something that has not been fully composted down and put it into your garden, you can actually kind of create issues for your plants that you wish you hadn't started. Now, and there's also something to be said. Most communities do have compost piles that are run by their cities, and they have free compost, days that you can go. And I have myself, and this is just me personally, I have steered away from that because, again, not everybody is following, shall we say, an organic route. So you don't really know what's in those compost piles. And I'm speaking of specifically insecticides, pesticides, residues from other products that people may have used. Yes, they're sitting in a compost pile that is very hot, and their compost piles will be exceedingly hot. But there is always going to be sort of like what they call residue that's still going to be there. And putting those into your beds where you're growing food in particular, maybe not so much plants or flowers, but when you're growing food, you need to be very mindful that those residues can then bring in other issues that can take 2 or 3 years then to resolve. So I no longer go and get their compost. I do my own compost. And that can be done in different ways, and it doesn't have to be a big ordeal like people think it is. And if you don't want to compost or you can't, that's why then there are other means to be able to put organic materials, composted materials back into your soil. So you're going to buy things like bags that have manure in them, that have different kinds of seafood, or that have shrimp, or that have chicken manure, or, and so it doesn't really matter in the end because those have all come from something that has been alive, organic, and now broken down and gone back into the earth.